I have a passion for filmmaking and I would like to direct.
When I leave school, I want to go to Auckland University to study human services.
I like to have my own business.
Notice a recurring theme here? All these kids have big dreams.
I like to be a professional musician.
What?
Be a journalist.
For the past 6 months, we've been researching the issue of transition, teenagers leaving school and becoming more independent. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It takes a lot of thought to ensure these teenagers end up in jobs that match their interests. Alright guys, what subject's this?
Music.
My interest in teenagers and their transition from school began when I was asked to speak to a group one day. The students were all desperate to know how I got a job. The more I talked to people, the more I realised that transition is a massively complicated process. Too many teenagers with disabilities struggle to find the path that will take them where they want to go.
We spoke to teachers.
There's no one to tell us where to go to get help in transition, and that is our biggest problem.
We spoke with parents.
I've never been able to quite work out what the system is.
We spoke to employment agencies.
Employers need to really focus on ability and not the disability, and that can take a bit of time to do that.
Government policy has been the catalyst for massive change to the lives of disabled New Zealanders in the past 20 years. We've seen residential institutions close, and most students with disabilities are now integrated into mainstream schools.
The Labour government introduced the New Zealand Disability Strategy, the No Exceptions policy in sport, and it also introduced another blueprint, an ordinary life. Late last year, the government won an international award for its efforts to date. But there's a lot of work yet to be done. We've made a promise to this younger generation that they'll be integrated fully into society. But we're not yet following through on that promise, leaving many teenagers frustrated and disillusioned about their future.
Several government departments and ministers have a role in transition. There's the Minister of Education, the Minister of Labour, the Minister of Social Development, the Minister of Tertiary Education, and the Minister of Disability Issues.
We asked Ruth Dyson to pop by the Attitude Office to ask her a few questions. It turns out that transition is a high priority for her too.
My vision is that every young person has the support they need to make the transition from school into a paid job or into further training in education. But it's more than that. It's not just a change from education to a job. It's a change from being a teenager into being an adult. So there are a whole lot of complicating factors around. The work that we've done so far has been really successful. We've still got more to do. And in my view, as with everything in the disability strategy, the more support you give, the more you raise the expectations, the higher the bar reaches.
This is Scott and his mum, Anne.
In all truthfulness, I can't really envisage a day that Scott is going to have a genuine full-time job.
Scott's 22 and a dab hand at cooking eggs on toast.
Great. Thank you so much, Scott. Wait. So he stayed at school till he was 21 because there were no other options. At least it kept him occupied. Thank you, Scott.
Mum, eat, Mum.
Mum, eat. Okay, thank you, Scott.
But Scott needs more to fill his day. He spent the last year at Manukau Institute of Technology in South Auckland doing a life skills course.
Very good, Scott. Thank you.
Through Anne's contacts, Scott landed some work experience at Panmure Bridge School. He spends his time sweeping floors and washing windows. He's happy in his work, but it's only for half a day a week.
He's very aware when Tuesday comes around. He's got safety boots, he's got work gloves, and he knows that people work. And I just think it means a tremendous lot to him.
Scott, you doing a good job?
And here's the rub. Scott's mum, Anne, is paying for someone to act as his support person. Paying out of her own pocket. This was the only way she could make it happen. Scott's returning to MIT this year, but after that, she just doesn't know what he'll do.
Scott desperately wants a job. He's got very limited speech, it's going to make it quite hard to find him a job. But he just loves to work. He knows that that's what people do. I would like him to earn a little bit of money so he learns the value of money. He just thinks that I get money out of the wall.
To support herself and Scott, Anne works 2 jobs.
It is difficult to make ends meet. Scott does have a lot of extra expenses that other children don't have.
Scott's fine at home alone for short lengths of time, but Anne ensures someone is with him when she's at work.
Personally, I think he's safe, but my biggest fear is fire. If he left an element on, I wasn't here. I mean, these 3 units would all go up, and can you just imagine the uproar? Fancy a mother leaving him home alone. I don't honestly have a lot of options because I work.
Scott and Anne are just one of many families I talk to about the quest for employment. This year, a new scheme is being introduced. It's targeting kids already tagged with what's known as Oars funding. That's money specifically allocated to an individual's educational needs. This new scheme should guarantee these students a job and a plan to move them into adult life. Funding will also be available to agencies to help with transition. So what's the problem with this? It's only going to help a portion of those kids needing help. Each year, hundreds of applications for Oars funding are declined. Officials say the students simply don't meet the criteria. Parents and schools say they wouldn't apply if they didn't see a real need for both support at school and beyond. These are the kids that worry me the most because they struggle in transition and fall through the gaps.
I'm not sure of the full details. I have seen the government stats that for the 2002-2004 years that only 1% of the school student population actually received Oars funding, so that's a very small number.
Neil's the transition specialist for an employment agency and works with people with disabilities in Hamilton.
Should we look at your transition plan, Ocean?
Neil's been visiting Huntly College to help Ocean put her transition into place. Ocean is visually impaired and does have Oars funding.
This year I'm 7th form and I'm 18, and this year's supposed to be my last year, but I'm thinking of coming back next year for just part-time to finish some of my studies.
Ocean wants extra credits to help with her goal of a career in tourism, so she's staying at school. If she wanted to, she could stay at school until she's 21 and keep her Oars funding until then. Neil has a cynical view about what's happening to the non-Oars students.
I don't think people know if they fall through the cracks. If they go quietly, they maybe sit around at home and nothing much happens.
They should be able to offer the same service for Oars funded and non-Oars funded. There's a big frustration with the fact that they have to stay at school till they're 21 to get that automatic cutover, and that's the next item on my list of things to do to get that, what I think is quite archaic idea, off our agenda.